Hi everybody! It's been a while and I've been busy. I went to the Stampin' Up! Convention, which I have some things to share with you from there. And today is kind of an update slash card technique, and I'm updating you. First of all, I'm excited to say that in the September issue of Card Maker magazine, on page 26, you'll find one of my cards. Here is the card that's in the magazine. And it's one of those cards that, you make inspired by something else. And this was actually inspired by a wall hanging that I saw. Then I just converted it to the spotlight technique using inches and twinchies. For those of you that aren't familiar with inches and twinchies, there are little, I guess, pieces of mat board that you can work with, and they're heavy and they're thick. And I use them sometime on cards because they mimic the idea of a canvas or art. And I like the artsy approach to card making. Now what I'm going to do, so hang in there, is I'm going to show you a technique using one of the twinchies today and a brand new stamp. Okay, so the technique we're going to do today is called blender pen slash can be watercolor technique with embossing. And isn't this just beautiful? So I used a twinchie. I promised I'd show you how to use a twinchie. And I matted the twinchie, and this piece right here I can't tell you too much about because it's a sneak peek. It's an upcoming embossing folder, and it's sneaky because it's not all of the folder. It's only a piece of the folder used as a mat, and then it's folded in half, and I just put a chipboard sticker on it, and inside it just has a place to write a little letter. So you know I love to write letters. So I'm going to show you how to do the focal piece here. And actually I'm using this great big old stamp. I know one thing I like to let people know really early on is that you can always do a lot with large stamps. Don't think of them as just the size they are. Think of all the little individual components. And with this card, you can tell that this piece right here, excuse the phone, is this area right here. So we're going to create this card from this great big stamp and using a 2 by 2 inch frame, which in this case is a twinchie, but you're welcome to cut out a piece of Whisper White cardstock to 2 by 2 to get that. So I'm going to turn the stamp over, and I'm going to take a little bit of Versamark, and I'm going to Versamark that area, which is right here. Add to the stamp as opposed to hitting the pad with your great big old stamp. And if you get any of that Versamark on anything else, just take a wipey or a cloth. Watch for your edges. Keep them clean. Take one of my twinchies, and I have one right here. And people will argue about what's the front or the back. I'm going to use this as the front. I'm not going to have that argument today. And I'm just going to place it on top of that area and press. So you can see that I'm only embossing that one little area of the stamp. I just want to push down fairly well so that I get the stamp everywhere. And then if you pick it up, you can see, and I can see this better than you can, I'm sure, the impression of the stamp on the twinchie. I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to get some white embossing powder, which I have in this little dish. And I'm just going to dunk the twinchie, again this could be a 2 by 2 piece of cardstock, into the embossing powder. A light tap off. Now you're going to see it better once you put the embossing powder on. If you notice any stray embossing powder with the twinchies, you can actually use the same rag you use to clean the stamp to clean the twinchie, because it's a heavier piece of material. I wouldn't do this with cardstock. With cardstock, use a paintbrush to take off any extra. Then I'm just going to emboss this, and sometimes what I will use to hold it is a pair of tweezers or one of those things that you use for wires and jewelry. Works well. Wait until this is 100% shiny. And let me just put you on hold so you don't have to hear this. Okay, so that's all embossed, and you can see now that we can see the image a lot clearer because it's been embossed. The embossing is going to help me keep the outline of the stamp as well as stay in the lines as I color it. Now I'm going to find an easy way to color this. I'm just going to take a clear block. I'm going to take, this is Summer Starfruit, one of our new ink colors. Put that at the end. Now with the old pad, you might have to press a little bit, but with the newer pads, because they're foam, you're going to get a lot of ink just pressing a little bit. You don't need a lot of ink for this, so I'm actually putting down much more ink than what's needed. Just put a little bit of the Tangerine Tango. I also like the Primrose Petals. Primrose Petals being one of our newer products too. And then finally, I'm going to put a little bit of Gumball Green, also one of our new ink colors, on there too. So you end up with 4 colors on there. A blender pen, and I'm going to grab the yellow first and do the center of all the flowers with a little bit of yellow. Now if it helps you, keep the actual stamp nearby, because whereas you might not be able to see the components very easily on the stamp because it still doesn't have a lot of color, you can see it on the real stamp, so you can look at it and kind of tell where you're supposed to be coloring. And then I'll just use a scrap piece of paper. So let me just tear a piece off so you can see. A scrap piece of my grid paper to run my blender pen clean. Then I'll go to the next color, and I'm going to put some orange or Tangerine Tango, sorry. What I kind of want to do is get the edges first. So I'm going to take this orange around the outer edges. Oops, I think I grabbed some of the red. So if you grab the wrong color, just use your scrap paper to run your blender pen clean. And then I'm going to just go back and get the rest of my edges with the Tangerine Tango. And then I'm going to clean my brush again and get the Primrose Red is going to do the rest. And you notice I'm not trying to be good. I'm just kind of plopping down color. Because I'm actually going to spray this with, you can spray it with a water mister, or you can spray it with Glimmer Mist, or you can play it with Smooch. You can spray it with any liquid product once you get done, because what that liquid product will do is cause these colors to blend nice together. And that's totally optional. Sorry about the phone. Alright, so now I'm going to clean my brush one last time and do the stems with the Gumball Green. Okay. And then I'm going to, you can see how easy the blender pen really cleans up fast just by rubbing it on a piece of paper. Then I'm going to take a smooch spray, and away from the camera I'm going to spray it, and you'll see because I've sprayed it, it's not only damp but the colors will blend, and they're blending but the outlines remain, and the outlines remain because we did the heat embossing. And that is your focal piece. All you would do is mat it, and there's a ton of ways you could mat this. Put it on a piece of cardstock and it'll be gorgeous. I really, really, really like the way this turns out. And it gets better as it dries, and it's awesome. Alright, you guys, have a good week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.